Got it, the recording button. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our District 11 Middle School Fair. I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Ms. Christine Vaughn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Crespo. I am really excited about all of the schools that are going to be presenting this afternoon. As all of you know, we have amazing options in District 11. And I just want to give a shout out to the 5 teams that are going to be presenting tonight. I want to give a shout out to Principal Cartagena and her team, Principal Calderon and his team, Principal Jackson and his team, Principal Johnson and Principal McGee. And with that, I am going to turn it. Oh, Deputy Superintendent Russo, do you want to say a few words before we start?
Just a quick hello to everyone and thanks for being with us tonight. As the superintendent said, you're going to hear from 5 schools tonight, which represent actually a big chunk of the school offerings that you have in District 11. Each one of them is a fantastic option for your child. And tonight is about just learning about the intricacies of each school and their offerings and thinking about what makes the most sense for you and for your child. So let's get right into it. I think that the first school that we have presenting tonight is Bronx Park, right, Yvette?
Yes, actually it is Bronx Park, but I wanted to do very quickly, just
right.
do some housekeeping, if you don't mind. So I am Yvette Crespo, the Family Leadership Coordinator for District 11. And go ahead, Navarra, you can move the slide. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. And so just a little bit of housekeeping. I'd like to tell you to please make sure that you mute yourself, that you raise your hand to speak, and that you listen to the speaker. I know this says to keep on your cameras, but actually, if there's a video actually playing, it would be best that you don't turn on the camera until we're ready to start doing Q&A. Next slide, Nora. And so the middle school fair, the information is that it's open now to actually do the applications, but the deadline is March 1st. Okay, go ahead. And so the way that you would apply for the middle schools is when you go to myschools.nyc, and there's a link there. If you want, you can take a picture and it will help you to log on. Go ahead. And there's the way you find out more information is that you would go onto the DOE website and you look up the schools at nyc.gov enrollment. You explore your schools, you fill out the middle school application, and of course, come to our middle school fair today so that you can get all the information about all our great schools. Next slide. And last but not least is just here information about all the admissions information and updates. And the best place to go is to actually the schools, the DOE website, and of course the school's website. Next. And again, we'll just note, just to give you more information, if you wanted to find out all of the different applications information, you would just go to the middle school admissions email list and you would just put your information there. Next. And then I just want to thank everyone. If you have any questions, hopefully your questions will be answered here. If not, please visit the parent coordinator at the school that you're interested in and the school guidance counselor. And always please feel free to reach out to your own parent coordinator or your own school counselor. Thank you so much, and we're ready to go.
All right, thank you, Ms. Crespo. Hi, everyone, good evening. I am Mr. L. I'm one of the assistant principals at Bronx Park Middle School. Mr. Hammock, the other assistant principal, is here with me as well. And we have a video presentation for everyone. Hopefully it gives everybody a lot of information they need. But Mr. Hammock and I will be around after the video to make sure we can answer any extra questions. So if you'll bear with me for a second, I am going to start the movie. All right. here at Bronx Park. Thanks for joining us today, and I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of the different things we talk about during this fair. First, you'll hear from our principal, Renee Rinaldi Garcia, about what makes Bronx Park Bronx Park. Then I'll give you a little bit of information about where the school is and how to get in touch with us. And then finally, take a deeper dive into our academics, social, emotional, and experiential learning experience. At the end, we will go through and I'll answer any and all questions. And I'll also share the link so that you can reach out to us for more information. Glad to have you here, and I hope to see you next year at Bronx Park.
Welcome and good evening. My name is Renee Rinaldi Garcia, and I'm the principal here at Bronx Park Middle School. I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about how we do school here at Bronx Park. Our mission is simple: flow, growth, purpose. Flow means you love what you're learning. You love coming to school, you're excited and curious, and you're in the zone when you're learning at Bronx Park. Growth is about, well, growth. We want students, no matter where they are, to set goals for themselves and grow, grow, grow. Purpose, I just said it, is to set goals. At Bronx Park Middle School, we try to meet everybody where they're at, whether you're a good reader or a struggling reader, whether you love math or you hate math. Our goal is to find the best learning experience for you and help you become a better person and a better student. So I hope you enjoy learning about what could be your sixth grade experience here at Bronx Park Middle School.
Now that Ms. Rinaldi has gotten you all excited about Bronx Park, let me share some basic information like where we are and how you can get in touch with us. Bronx Park Middle School is located on the 3rd floor of the MS 135 campus, which is located at 2441 Wallace Avenue. We are a short walk away from all the buses that drop off at Pelham Parkway and White Plains Road, as well as a short walk away from both the Pelham Parkway and Allenton Avenue stops on the 2 train. Our school hours are 8:30 to 3 p.m. on Monday and Thursday, and on Fridays, our school hours are 8:30 to 2:10. We can always be reached by phone during the school hours, and our phone number is 718-652-6090. If you'd like to reach us outside of school hours, we have a couple of different ways where you can reach out and someone will get back to you either in the moment or the next school day. Check us out on Facebook. We are on Facebook under Bronx Park Middle School. You can also check us out on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is BXPK556. And if you can't reach us through either of those social media platforms, we always have our emails available, and you can reach out to our parent coordinator, Miss Anderson, by emailing her at manderson@bronxparkms.com. I know that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time, so don't worry if you didn't get to write it all down. At the end of this presentation, I'll be sharing a Google form where you can put in your information like your email address, phone number, and contact information, and we'll send you all the information about Bronx Park that way. Now, let's talk about the school summer. As Ms. Rinaldi mentioned in her video address, flow, growth, and purpose for every child every day is the mission of Bronx Park. We achieve this through our academic program, the social experience and learning we give our students, and the experiential learning where students can use real-world examples to learn from life. Our academic program features interdisciplinary units where students are working to build skills in each of the 4 subjects that they'll need to solve a real-world problem during project week. An example of this is that our grade 6 students just finished their Unit 2 project where they were members of FEMA and had to respond to a natural disaster in New York. We also feature mastery-based grading, and we focus on students' skills and understanding of the concepts and base our feedback on that. And we provide supports for multilingual learners and special education students. Social and emotional learning is based in our PRIDE values, which stand for professionalism, reflection, innovation, determination, and empathy. We also have an advisory program where every child has one adult as a home base and an advocate, but they also get to meet with their peers and discuss things as they figure out who they are in this world. We also strongly believe in restorative practices and the value of reflection. We want students to learn from their mistakes, and when we make mistakes, to understand the importance of giving back to our community. In terms of experiential learning, our project weeks that I mentioned earlier give students a real life type problem to solve. We also have Flow Week, which is a week at the end of the school year where students go on a week of trips, all designed to get them to live and learn in the city. We also have overnight trips. Our sixth graders go camping. Our seventh graders go to Philadelphia and tour some colleges in the area, and our eighth graders go to Washington, D.C. and all the national monuments. Some more news about Bronx Park. We're big on celebrations. We really recognize growth, and every unit, we have a Growth Master ceremony where we celebrate students and give them bracelets for showing growth in every unit. We have Pride Awards where we recognize students' growth socially. We also have events like our multicultural feast where all families are invited to bring in food and share a meal together. And each year our PTA throws a carnival in the spring. We provide extra support and extracurriculars. We have an after-school partnership with Bronx House that is free. They provide 3 hours of after-school care each day. They also provide programs during the summer, spring, and winter breaks for families that need someplace for their students to go or for something for their children to do during those school vacations. We also have a slew of after-school teacher-led clubs, a bunch of athletic programs, Saturday programs for interventions. We also do musicals through Broadway Junior. And something else I want to mention is that we prepare our kids for the future. We have annual college and career days where students get to research and explore different colleges and then present them to each other. We have career days where members of our community come in and give children the opportunity to learn more about the different places they can go as they grow up. Our high school application process is embedded in our curriculum, and our students make strong high school choices based on being an informed consumer. And we also offer Regents courses in living environment, history, and Algebra 1.
Hey everyone, I'm Mr. Hammock, our other assistant principal. One thing that we are particularly proud of this year that we wanted to make sure we mentioned is our acceptance into the International Baccalaureate program as a candidate school. We are only the second middle school in the entire Bronx to be accepted into the program. And this is an opportunity for us to continue to grow as a school as we develop really interesting units of study like Mr. L talked about earlier in the presentation. IB is a world-renowned organization with schools in dozens of countries, and its emphasis on international mindedness we feel is a really good fit for our diverse community here at Bronx Park. And so we hope to potentially welcome you and your students to our school community in the future. Thanks so much.
Hey, Mr. L, don't forget about me.
I could never forget about you, Mr. Mushu. Bronx Park is also home of our very own comfort dog, Mr. Mushu. Can't wait till you join us and you can meet him in person. This afternoon, you've heard from our principal, Renee Rinaldi Garcia, from myself, and our school's comfort dog, Mr. Mushu. We look forward to welcoming you here next year, but I'm going to stick around live and in person to make sure that I can answer any questions you have before you go. Please make sure to fill out the Google form to send us your information and we can follow up with you. And until then, have a great day, Bronx Park. Bye, everyone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? You can raise your hand.
I already see some questions in the chat.
So do I.
Answer.
Okay.
The first question I'm going to answer is what is the total population of the school? We are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and we currently have about 395 students. Do we do busing? Any student who has an IEP that provides for student busing or lives in a shelter is provided with busing through DOE bus services. For students who do not have that, they do receive Metro cards to access public transportation. Another question I see in the chat is, what is our honors program like? We specifically do not have an honors program. One of the ways that we believe that we can help all students access the greatest curriculum is to make sure that everybody has access to the same material and the same curriculum and learning from all their teachers. In terms of Regents programs, in 8th grade, we offer supplemental classes, so after school courses and Saturday programs that can help students prepare for the Regents exams and put in the requisite hours.
Yeah, I would just add to that, Mr. L, sorry, just to jump in, that our International Baccalaureate curriculum is accessible to every single student. And so are all of those Regents courses that Mr. L outlined in our 8th grade.
Just answering the questions that I see in the chat as they come. I apologize if I missed
No, that's
one.
fine. That's fine.
Do you offer music and band programs? Yes, we do have a music enrichment course in each grade. Each child takes at least one marking period of music throughout the year. And we do not have a band program right now. It's something that we're looking forward to building up to. In terms of drama, we have a musical program which was featured, and this afternoon actually was our very first meeting for this year's musical, Shrek Jr. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and one other thing that we're particularly proud of, I think, over the last couple of years is our drama program is a partnership with the Broadway Junior Foundation. And so we've had teaching artists who have actually performed on Broadway come and support our drama teachers and help create really amazing musicals for kids. And we've done a couple different musicals, and we were even able to pull one off last year in a very difficult learning environment, given the changes to the school day and when we were remote and hybrid, and we were still able to we called it a Zoomsicle because it was a musical that actually had to be on Zoom, and kids were able to pull that off, and they did Annie on Zoom. And so that's something that I also think is one thing that we like to highlight about Bronx Park is just the innovation of our teaching staff, making sure that we're bringing all of these programs to kids. Even in the last 18 months, when it's been more challenging, we've been able to make sure that those opportunities are provided to our students.
Yeah.
Do you see the other questions?
Yes, there are a lot of questions about extracurriculars, some of them about the timing. Our after-school clubs normally run from 3 to 5. Some of our sports teams do practice in the morning before school from 7 to 8, or on a Saturday where we share the gym with the other 2 schools. But our programs do run pretty much from 3 to 5 in the afternoon they're offered. Bronx House, which is our partner, and they work in our building, their program runs until 6 p.m. Or 5:10 on Fridays, but there are three hours of programming there as well.
And then I see this question about sports programs. I just think so. That's kind of that. I can give an answer about what we have generally offered, and then what we are able to, most of which we're able to offer this year also. So we have had a boys basketball, both junior varsity and varsity. We've had girls basketball, junior varsity and varsity. We've had co-ed soccer. We've had a girls softball team, a boys baseball team. We have had a track and field team. We have also done flag football in the fall that's co-ed. One of the things that I think we really pride ourselves on, if there's a group of students that want to have a sport at Bronx Park, even if we can't offer it at a competitive level, we will make sure that there's a club offered. And so although we've had to change the dates of start times for some of the stuff or change some of the regulations around it over the last 6 months, 18 months, we have made sure that all of those teams have existed in some capacity over the last 2 years as well.
So one of the questions also here states, do you have integrated classes for children with IEPs?
Yes, we do. We work with every family that has an IEP to make sure that we meet all their services, and not just meet their services, but help build on those plans to make sure that we're helping students become their full self. So yes, we do offer ICT classes. We have self-contained classes as well. We have a speech therapist on staff as well as a couple of other related service providers like our social worker and guidance counselor. So any family that comes in, we do work with their IEP to make sure that we can get all the services to help their child grow.
Great. They ask, one of the questions also is, what region exams are offered?
Typically, we offer Regents exams in Algebra 1, Living Environment, and U.S. History. Yes, those three.
Wow. Oh, nice. Okay, and then it asks if a children wants to go to the after school program, do they have to be vaccinated to join?
As of right now, that is not a requirement that we're asking of students. If they can come to school, if they can participate in the school day and follow all the COVID protocols, we all don't enjoy the mask, but we all make sure we wear them because we care about each other. We want to keep each other safe. So as long as everybody is okay with following COVID protocols, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
The other one is the other question. It's can you explain a little bit about the Saturday program and what is the security like around the environment?
Okay.
Sure, I can jump in about the Saturday program. So Saturday programming, we offer a number of different things. So we have kind of a 3-hour math and ELA support that we offer almost every Saturday, and that's open to every student. So if you're a parent of a student who wants some extra help, then it's always available. And then if you're we also make sure that at different points in the year, we target specific students to say that, hey, like you have some work that you need to make up. Could you come, if you'd like to come in on this Saturday, and we have teachers that teach those specific students to help support them. We also have a lot of our sports programming that goes on at the same time in Saturday mornings. And we also offer our specialized high school exam, which we actually didn't talk about. We are a member of the specialized high school pilot program. So we offer an in-house specialized high school exam preparation program that happens throughout the school year for 7th graders going into 8th grade before they take the specialized high school exam. And that happens oftentimes on Saturdays as well. One thing that we didn't mention that I'm super proud of our students. Every single year since we participated in that program, we've had at least one student attend a specialized high school as well.
Okay. And then most of the other questions are basically on graduation. Would there be a graduation in-house? Would there be a prom, because of COVID? And so.
Yeah. Along those lines, we've been doing everything we can to keep us safe. So last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to hold an in-person graduation outside in our school yard. And we did it in 2 shifts, but we were able to make sure that we were able to do it in person. This year, we waited until it was safe to plan our traditional first dance. And then when it was time for the dance, the COVID numbers spiked. So we led with caution and postponed the dance. We look forward to getting back to all celebrations, but we're going to lead with safety. We are a large community. Going back to the safety question, we share the building with 2 other schools, and everybody comes from the same neighborhood. We all work together. We all live together. We all communicate. And yes, there's issues every now and then because it's a neighborhood, but we deal with it together as a campus and we communicate. And that's the same way we're dealing with COVID. We're being safe, we're talking to each other, and we're making sure that everybody can stay safe.
Thank you.
And those 2 other schools on our campus, just so everybody knows, are Pelham Academy and Bronx Green Middle School. I think you'll both hear from those other 2 schools, I think both this evening. I know Pelham Academy for sure. And those are, again, to kind of touch on the security issue. I think that's something that one of the things that I think is a real asset about our campus is the collaboration between the 3 schools. And so, the 3 principals and the 3 staffs know each other very well. And have a long-standing relationship of working together, both in terms of solving any issues that might come up, but then also celebrating together. And so we've in the past had a inter-campus basketball tournament that we've run, and a lot of staff collaboration across the 3 schools also. And so it's a campus that kids are really happy to be at, and a campus where the adults in the building collaborate with one another to make sure the kids are safe.
Do you mind adding your email addresses so that if there are any questions that anyone has, they can actually email you all also?
Yeah, actually, I put a link in the chat a couple of times to a Google form. So if anybody wants more information, just fill that out. And Mr. Hammock, Ms. Anderson, who's also on the call, but internet's going in and out, we'll reach out to you and we'll get back to you. We can answer any questions or just give you more information. So I just put it in the chat again. And thank you, everyone, for your time this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.
Okay. So our next school is actually, we call it CASA, C-A-S-A, and it's Cornerstone Academy for Social Action. Do we have Principal Calderon with us?
Yes, I'm here, Yvette. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, parents, and good evening, all scholars. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I know that your choices are many. There are many great schools to choose from when it comes to middle schools in District 11. So I want to thank you in advance for considering CASA, otherwise known as Cornerstone Academy. So if you would allow me to share, there are a couple of team members that are going to jump in during the presentation, and they represent different parts of our school communities.
Thank you. Okay.
So one of the things that makes CASA very, very special, for those of you that, if I didn't introduce myself earlier, my name is Mr. Calderon. I am the principal of CASA Middle School. And one of the things that we are really proud of is the fact that we are a small school, but we pack a big punch. We're really big on family. And it's really important to us for us to create connections and build relationships with one another. We believe that by doing so, we bring out the best in each other. And so teachers and students and support staff all work together to be that family that we all want to be a part of. And so every student is known by name, support staff, paraprofessionals, out of classroom personnel, all of them are very much a part of the team, and everyone has the mentality and the mindset of all hands on deck. Our school is about 10 years old, fairly young, maybe about a decade old. The building is fairly new, about the same. And so you'll see in the presentation later on that we have a very vibrant building, a very lively school environment, open and fresh, that also is conducive to learning. We have state-of-the-art equipment that we're grateful for, thanks to a lot of grants. Reso 8 grants have been able to help us out. We have a music room where students learn keyboarding. We have state-of-the-art computer lab. We have an art room. We also have a horticulture room where students earn the art of gardening. And we're super proud of our recording studio. One of the only middle schools that I know of that has a recording studio where students have been able to make music and produce some songs. And so during the presentation, you'll be able to hear one of those samples. Like I said, we're big on family, and so we often have families come through, generations of family come through our door because people are, because of the experiences that they have in our building, parents oftentimes send all of their siblings, and now we are seeing that kids that were that then grow up and have their own children want to send their kids back to CASA. We have an open door policy that was, especially before COVID, that where we welcomed everyone at all times. We still try to practice that as much as possible, but because of COVID, we've been limited. And so we find other ways to make sure that we're communicating with parents and families and that we're maintaining those relationships and that the constant communication. Like I said, we're small, so we average about 235 students to 250. We're one floor in that building on the 4th floor. This year, because of COVID, the past couple of years, we've lost some students, but we usually average about this much. And our class sizes are usually between 25 and 30 students. Ensuring the success of our students academically is also very important. And so you'll see that a lot of our student learning, the learning that happens in the classroom is student-centered, students doing a lot of the heavy lifting, engaging in conversation, really engaging in the material. And so we make sure that they see themselves in the material. And so we have a lot of our curriculum is culturally responsive, high quality curriculum that's ensuring that students are learning also about themselves and others. And we're setting them up to be able to have those types of conversations and that type of learning in our classrooms. I'm going to ask Ms. Phelps, who's one of our science teachers and also the UFT chapter leader, to jump in at this time and speak to her experience from a teacher perspective.
Hi, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for your interest in CASA Middle School. My name is Dawnette Phelps. I am one of the science teachers here at CASA Middle School. I have been here for, this is, I think, my 8th year at CASA, maybe 9th year. And I tell you, whenever someone asks me about my experience at CASA, I've been in 2 schools prior. I tell them that CASA is my absolute favorite and best place that I've ever worked. And one of the reasons why is that, you know, we have such a great team here, from admin to teacher to support staff to our paraprofessionals. We pride ourselves on really being collaborative and supportive of one another so that we can best serve our students in our community. So one of the things that we do, we actually put into our schedules weekly times to meet as teams. So we meet as departments, and we also meet as grade teams to discuss student work, to discuss student needs and student issues, and come together to derive plans that will best serve our student population. So we work very, very closely together. You will find sixth grade teachers talking to seventh grade teachers, eighth grade to sixth, so on and so forth. Because we are very, very small and tight knit, we're able to have those conversations very, very often. Another thing that we do to make ourselves even better, we rely on feedback. And so our admin team, they visit our classrooms very, very often and provide timely feedback, quick feedback, so that we can put their ideas and thoughts about what we could do better on improvement into practice immediately. We look at each other, we walk into each other's classroom. Again, that open door policy, we're not afraid of critiquing each other and giving each other support. That's one of the things that helps us grow. And that's one thing that from the beginning of CASA that we've worked hard to really, really do. With our students, we take pride in saying that there's no time that's off limit for a student to receive help. So if students want to make time to come before school, after school, during our preps, lunchtime, if they say they need help, we're going to do that, go the extra mile and make sure that they have the help and support that they need. There's no time where we tell them, oh, come back later, or we'll make the time to do it, even if it means coming in, like I said, a little bit earlier or staying a little bit later. It's okay. So it's a very welcoming environment. We've had parents visit our classes. Like I said, we go into each other's classes. It's not just the admin that's making those types of observations and giving those feedbacks. So we do try to communicate and stay in contact with each other in terms of learning and instruction all the time. Our classrooms are very much state of the art. Every classroom has their own laptop cart. Every classroom just got updated new furniture, desk and chairs. And in coming months, because of our RESO grants that we got, every classroom is going to be outfitted with new smart boards. Every classroom has smart boards now, but they're kind of outdated. And so we're getting the most updated devices that we can have in our classroom to support our children. So to ensure academic success, I mean, we're very serious about academics. We're very close knit, but academics is number one. Culture plays its part, and we believe in kids striving for excellence, and we work as a team to strive for that excellence as well. At this time, I'll ask Ms. Walton. Ms. Walton is our support staff. She's our social worker, and I'm going to turn it over to her so she can add more to the conversation.
Thank you and good evening to all the parents on this at the middle school fair. Welcome to our CASA presentation. Like Ms. Phelps just said, my name is Tiffany Walton and I'm the school social worker at CASA. I'm part of the founding staff, so I've been there for over a decade and I enjoy it the same way I do today as I did when I first walked in. One of our goals at CASA is to meet students where they are. So every student comes in, we know each child by name, and we kind of pride ourselves on that because I know as a child going into a school building, when I didn't feel that I connected with a teacher or a staff member did not know my name, I didn't feel as connected. So that's something that the counseling department, as well as every other staff member in the building, pride themselves on, making sure we know each child, know their needs, their wants, their strengths, as well as their weaknesses. We are really big on the social emotional support. We are big on social emotional learning. We have full wraparound services. So we have a full-fledged guidance team, which consists of myself, who is the school social worker, a guidance counselor, and we have our parent coordinator who's actually in training of becoming a counselor, who's also helped with our guidance department. We have a full-fledged advisory program, which meets once a week. Each grade 6 to 8 receive life and character skills. We're really big on that, using the CASEL framework of the social emotional learning standards. So the goal, like we said, is not only to meet students where they are, but ensure that each student graduate with CASA not only academically prepared, but also socially, emotionally successful as well. We're really big on the whole child approach, which we believe that all students need to grow academically, socially, and emotionally. In terms of our school culture, we're really big on social action and student voice. We feel it's very important to include student voice, not only inside of our classrooms, but outside of our classrooms. We have a lot of student-led initiatives. We had one this year where a group of our students created their own after school club that we will be implementing and helping them get off road running very soon. It's an inclusive club that 3 of our 7th grade scholars came together with a plan, and we are there to support them. So students and families, just know if you have any ideas, we all about student voice and social action. You've come to the right place because we're here to support you to get, if something that you're really passionate about, we are here to support and assist. In terms of community service opportunities, we're really big on, as far as us being a social action school, we are big on service in the community. We currently have a partnership with the elementary school downstairs where some of our 8th graders are actually doing community service downstairs in one of our pre-K classrooms, where they go down and meet and actually help support the pre-K teacher with helping to serve snack and help with nap time. We have a 0 tolerance for bullying. I know in middle school, I have a child in middle school. I know this is huge, right? During this time period, this is during the pre-adolescent to adolescent stage when students are having a hard time. They're at the point where they're trying to find themselves and has a hard time identifying with different peer groups. So the one thing I want to ensure to everyone here, we have a 0 tolerance for bullying. If there's ever a situation where a student feel uncomfortable or feel that they are being targeted or they feel like they are being bullied, this is something that myself, the guidance team, the admin, all teachers and support staff are all on board, and we take care of it right away. Parents are called, we hold mediations where students are able to feel free and comfortable to share their experiences. We're able to educate the bullies and make sure that it does not happen moving forward. We're really big on the restorative approach. So where we do self-harm circles, a lot of group work, a lot of peer mediation, just to make sure that we want to make sure that everything we do is restorative based. We want to make sure that students, like I said, this is a tough year. Well, those are tough years, middle school years are tough years. So we want to just make sure that through every process of their middle school experience, they're learning and they're able to restore their relationships while building on their own self-needs.
So Ms. Walton, I'll jump back into the program, jump back into the conversation and talk some more about our programs. So the title of this slide is actually expanding partnerships, right? So a lot of what you see listed so far, we currently do have partnerships with a lot of the organizations that you see. So mental health services, we're very big with the visiting nurse services. We know that mental health is a very, very big topic. And we know that a lot of our kids and families struggle with mental health. And so part of educating our child is making sure that they are fit and sound mentally. And a lot of times that means supporting the family as well as the child. So visiting nurse services is a big part of our school. In fact, we have construction going on right now for a Montefiore building to actually be erected on our building, on our campus. Is actually happening as we speak. Another great opportunity that we have is to partner with New York Edge. This is a CBO in our school currently. It's an after-school program, and it's run by a very good director, Ms. Stephanie. So right now we have a lot of teachers from CASA. That's actually a part of the after-school program. And then also they bring in their outside staff, but it's a good marriage between the day school and the after school. There's no separation between the two. Our principal is very much aware of what's happening in the after school. He meets regularly with the directors to make sure and ensure that the values of CASA is still maintained even in the after school program. So that's one thing that we really don't have to be concerned about, and we're grateful for that. We're also big on performing arts. So we are in partnership with Broadway Junior. We've done several plays with them, including Annie. We've done The Lion King with them, and it was a great success. Musical theater, New Victory Theater. They've come to visit us. We've gone to visit them. They've given our kids exposure to a lot of plays and shows, and free of charge that they normally or probably wouldn't have had easy access to. And so with them coming into our building and being a part of our school community, it just made it so accessible to our children, and we're grateful for that. Alvin Ailey Dance Company, 92nd Street Y. So we try to do as much exposure as possible, because we believe that school is not just the 4 walls of the brick and mortar building, but it's the entire city that we live in. New York is a great and expansive place to live in. And so we try to give our kids as much exposure to it as possible. Another one of the things that we are very, very proud of is our zero waste program. So we work with Ms. Janelle, and she has a student-led initiative that's making sure that every classroom is recycling. We have all the bins, they do presentations, they make sure that students are aware of how to keep their school as clean as possible, as green as possible. And so we're trying to do our best to make sure that those programs not only continue in our school, but even grow even larger to get more students involved in that. One of the programs I'm very, very happy to be a part of is our honors courses. So right now I'm currently teaching a living environment course to our students. So I have a group of students that come in during a 0 period time, and they have enrolled in the course free of will, their own volition, and decided that they wanted to come in and take the living environment region. So I'm prepping them for that as we speak. We are looking to also expand that program to offer other regions exams as well as we move forward. But so far it's been a great success. Our students are extremely excited about it. And as the teacher of the class, I'm also extremely excited about it. Wrestling, last year, wrestling was a new initiative to us. We have a wrestling coach who's also our physical education teacher. He brought wrestling into our school, and it's been tremendous. It really has. And one of the things that we've noticed is that sometimes kids struggle in school. So a lot of the students that were what we would consider like students that were maybe behaviorists or struggling students, they turned to sports. They turned to the wrestling program, girls and boys, and they joined it. And we're seeing improvements in them, not only in their behavior, but also in their academics. So we were a winning basketball team. We have the trophies to prove it. And we're also looking to expand that. We know with COVID, a lot of things had to kind of fall by the wayside, but that doesn't mean that practices still can't continue. And that doesn't mean that we're still trying to build a team, waiting for the opportunity for it to, for us to be a part of leagues again. And finally, electives. So this was something that we thought of as a way to have kids express their own genius, because we know there are multiple intelligences. So in addition to the regular math, reading, social studies, science, the core curriculum, we thought, well, why not electives where students get to choose a class that they're actually interested in? And we have tons of teachers here with outside skills and passions and talent that said, okay, well, I can create a class for beat making. I can create a class for crochet. I can create a class for sewing. I can create a class for art. So we were able to actually implement that. And with our principal on board and realizing that that's such a great thing to have in our school, we will be bringing that program back. We don't currently have it in our schedule right now, but next year electives is coming back, and students will have the opportunity to actually decide on a class that they want based on their own passions. So that's just some of what we have. Now I'll ask our parent coordinator, Ms. Lynette, to join and add her voice to the talk.
Good evening, parents. Thank you for joining us. So I'm gonna touch a little base on uniforms. We are a uniform school. We're very big on uniforms since the day CASA opened its doors. And I think what it is that the uniforms, it sets a tone, right? That we all look alike, right? So we're not worrying about the flashy clothes or things like that. And it's been going pretty well. Again, like Ms. Phelps has said, I walked in CASA, and before I could even open up the door, I was like, this is gonna be my home. I'm gonna retire here. And that's just that. This has been one of the best schools that I have worked at. And because it's a small school and we're such a tight knit. Another thing that we have implicated in this year, well, not this year, about 4 years ago, is our cell phone policy. Students get distracted with it. At one time, you know, we do allow children to bring their cell phones, but they have to turn their cell phones into me in the morning time, and they will receive the phones back at the end of the day. I pride myself on uniforms, no hoodies. Students should not be walking around with hoodies, because a lot of parents say, oh, okay, it's cold. It's not cold in the building. Some classrooms may, and we make exceptions. However, we're a public school, right? And public schools matters as well. So we could go follow the Catholic schools, we can follow the public schools rules. So I'm very big on uniforms and I'm very big on cell phones. I know all 234 cell phones in that building, okay? And trust me, we have never ever lost a cell phone. A cell phone has never ever been broken, not on my watch. And even when I'm not there, I have backup and everyone knows the cell phone policy. So again, I just wanted to thank you for joining us. We're also bringing in a new CBO to add to our New York Edge as well. So that's coming in September as well. So I hope to see you. I hope to meet with all of you. And I will turn it back over to Principal Calderon.
Thank you, Ms. Lynette. And thank you all parents and scholars for taking the time to listen. We're going to close out with a quick virtual tour of our school building, giving you, letting the pictures tell you the story. And then I'm sure Ms. Crespo will open up the floor for any questions that you might have.
When you go through what you go through, and you try and try, when you look up with no faith left, and that's why something deep inside you says one more try. I was put here for a reason, so from the bottom I will rise.
Check it out, I got more.
Yo, Casa, what you gonna do for that grade? I'ma eat that chicken for that grade. I'ma touch a weed for that grade. I'ma work hard for that grade. I'ma catch a case for that grade. I'ma buzz that for that grade. Ooh. I'ma hit the wolf for that grade. Whoa. I'ma go stupid for that grade. We the best class in this grade. I'ma eat that chicken for that grade. I'ma touch a weed for that grade. I'ma work hard for that grade. I'ma catch a case for that grade. I'ma buzz that for that grade. I'ma hit the wolf for that grade. Whoa. I'ma go stupid for that grade. We the best class in this grade. When I'm in doubt, I just read it out. You know I write essays even when I'm down. I be spitting bars while I work hard. When I hit the books, God get really shook. It's not my fault that I took what I want. I'm just seeking the grades that I saw. I'm not stupid or dumb or wrong, cause they ain't missed it, y'all follow along. When it comes to my grades, I might get a fit. Other days I can't hear, see, or even replace. I do my work every day and make no mistake. I'ma eat that chicken for that grade. I'ma touch a weed for that grade. I'ma work hard for that grade. I'ma catch a case for that grade.
Thank you all again, and a shout out to our scholars that wrote and produced that song that you just heard in our very own recording studio.
Very nice, very nice. So now we have, if there's any questions other than the ones that are in the chat, I see that a lot of people have been answering some of those questions. Some of them have been duplicated. So they did say about the busing. So Mr. Calderon, one of the questions are, or who are your team, is asking what programs are offered by New York Edge. I'll make my way up.
So I'll let Ms. Phelps answer that, or Ms. Lynette, because they both are very much a part of New York Edge.
Mm-hmm. So I work along with New York Edge. I'm currently their education specialist as well. There's music, there's beat making, there's technology, there's crochet that just got added. We had just had new hires, there's art. So that's what we offer. I'm sorry, Mr. Calderon.
Oh, sorry, just anime came to mind.
Oh, and anime as well, yes. So that's what we currently have. And we also have 5 new hires that we're looking to bring on board and they're going to bring their talents on board as well. So we're looking to expand that program even more. In addition to the wrestling program is also there, and basketball is also there as sports.
So those are the clubs, the two clubs?
Those are the
Is there-
programs offered in New York Edge. Yes.
Okay, because
currently.
they're asking what type of clubs does the school have also?
Okay, so like after school. Okay.
Yeah, after school, what are the clubs, right? And they're asking what's the location of the school?
We're 3441 Steenwick Avenue.
We're right off of Boston Road.
Okay. And then it asks something about the music program. How do students get involved with the music program?
So that's actually part of the schedule for our scholars. So half the year, the scholars take music, keyboarding, and then the other half, they take technology. Right now, that's what it looks like for our scholars.
Okay. So is there any hands written other than what anyone is interested in asking? You want to unmute yourself or raise your hand? Otherwise, everything's been answered in the chat. Did I miss anything? Okay. All right. So we look like we're good. We're good. Anyone want to make any final comments? Because we're doing good timing.
If they have any questions, I will put my email in the chat. I'm the parent coordinator. You can reach out to me. You can email me.
Yep, we'll be more than happy to provide you guys with any other information that you might need. Maybe the questions didn't come up now, you think about it later. We'll be more than happy to provide you with answers. But again, thank you for considering us.
Oh, somebody has a question, Principal Calderon. Go ahead.
How do you guys, what is the relationship between teachers, counselors, principals, and parents? Like, how is the communication between that? How will we communicate with you guys, and how would you communicate with us?
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Lynette, and I'll jump in after you.
Okay, so we have robocalls, we have Remind app, we have emails that go out constantly. You will literally get tired of me emailing you, trust me. Okay. You will literally get email. They say open door policy. I have an open cell phone policy. I'm there for my parents 24/7, 7 days a week. Trust me. Again, we have a tight knit, as Miss Phelps and Principal Calderon have said, and Miss Walton. We are so tight with our families. Our students have our numbers. They'll call us. There's nothing that you can't call and ask us, and there's no communication that is not handed to you, provided to you. All types of communications.
So Miss Lynette said it all, and I just want to emphasize how seriously we take communication with our parents and making sure that we are involving you in the process. Not just out of reactive as a reaction, but being proactive with our parents and making sure that you guys are constantly included in and know what's happening in the CASA family, particularly now that you can't just come into the building. It's important that we continue to communicate on an ongoing basis using the different methods that we have. But parents oftentimes still, will pick up the phone, and if you can't get to Miss Lynette, then many other people that will be there to respond, including our secretary, including the social worker, teachers, that don't say I can't talk to people at this time. They'll make the time to make sure that they're available. And so it's one of the things that I really appreciate about the staff at CASA is there is this mindset of whatever we need to do for our kids and our families, we're willing to do it.
And also, Mr. Calderon, all of our students, staff, and teachers, everyone is outfitted with their own CASA Worldwide email. So even if we don't know each other's AOL or Yahoo or whatever, at that CASA, your name, and at CASAworldwide.tv, you can reach anybody. So that's another help.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you so much.
I have two more questions. One of them is, what are the school hours and how many students are in a classroom? And then the last one is, I guess the question would be, does anyone speak another language like Spanish? And I don't know if he meant in regards to staff or if he meant in regards to a language in the school. So I don't know which way was the question, but The one question was how many students in the classroom, in the class, and how big, I'm trying to go back to it. Oh, and the graduation rate. So it was actually 3 questions.
So we average about 25 to 30 students per class. And the other question in reference to what was the last one?
School hours and
School hours.
graduation rate.
Our first period begins at 8 o'clock. Students are in school in the building by 8. By 8:15, instructional time begins, and they end the day at 2:20. At which time those that are in after school go directly into after school, and that usually goes from that time 2:30 to about 5 o'clock. Is 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. And the question was regard the staff speak Spanish or another language.
Yes, so a number of our staff members, including myself, speak Spanish. And we do have representation in that way, in that sense.
Okay. So that's it. If you guys don't mind, if you would put your email addresses in the chat, this way, any parents that have any other questions, they could always email you guys. Take a picture, please, when you see the email, so that makes it quicker for yourselves. And this way, you can reach out to any one of the staff from Casa Middle School. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so,
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we're now going to introduce our third school this evening, and that would be the Castle Hill Middle School 127. Mr. Bryant, are you with us, or Miss Seabrook?
Yes, I am.
Hi,
Good.
how are you?
How are you? Nice to see you.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put my headphones on so you guys can't hear dismissal from the after school program. So good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Seabrooks. I am the 6th grade assistant principal here at the Hill Middle School 127. We are located at 1560 Purdy Street, which is in the Casa Hill section of the Bronx. That is on the 6th train line. The 22 bus also runs by us. If you're familiar with Parkchester, we are right across the street from St. Raymond's High School for boys. Okay, we have a few of our esteemed teachers with us here tonight online. We have Miss Julia Mezzo, who teaches Spanish. We have Miss Amy Robson, who teaches math. We have Miss Johora, Fatima Johora, who teaches our Bangla class of students. And I know that you guys have quite a few questions. So I'm going to play a short video for you that will give you a good idea about 127. I'll give you a little bit more information, and then feel free to ask us any questions. We have Miss Mezzo, Miss Robson, Miss Johora here. They will gladly answer your questions in the chat. And I will also answer them verbally for you. So have a seat, sit back, and enjoy a little bit about 127.
Seabrook, we can't hear the sound.
We can't hear it.
Yeah, you need to put it a little louder.
I think you have to take off your headphones so we can hear it, Misty Brooks.
I'm sorry, guys. You can't hear it. Let me.
Now we can. Now we can.
Okay. I took off my headphones. I'm going to start that over for you.
The audio is not, it's not good. You can't really understand what he's saying. Sorry. Sorry.
No worries. I'm sorry about that, guys. I have played it repeatedly, so I don't know why it's not working for you guys tonight, but let me summarize for you what that video says. We have a very diverse population here at Middle School 127. We are probably a third Asian, predominantly Bengali, and the other half is Hispanic and Black American, and that is split equally. So I see that Mr. Jackson has joined us. Also, Mr. Hayda has joined us. One of the things that makes us really special here at 127 is that diverse student population, as well as our staff population. We have quite a few staff members from different parts of the world, and it's so important for students to see a representation of themselves in the classroom. You can tell that our diverse population just by the staff members we have on our call this evening. Our after school program is also a huge selling point here at 127. There's something for everyone in the after school program. We have after schools, the school day is 8:10 until 2:30. Then the after school programs runs from 2:30 to 5:30. And some of you may be familiar with New York Edge. That is the organization that runs our after school program. We have sewing, basketball, football, soccer, and especially during a time like this, kids really need that outlet where they are able to engage and interact after school and have somewhat of a release. So we really pride ourselves on having an excellent relationship with the after school program. Okay. We also, oops, I'm sorry. We also have quite a few academic intervention programs.
You're muted.
You're muted. Miss Seabrook, you got muted. You were muted.
Miss Seabrook.
Yeah, I don't think she realizes it yet. I mean,
Anyone else from the 127 team can connect with Miss Seabrook to let her know or support technology-wise?
Hi, yes, good evening, everyone. I did. I just sent her a message.
hi, Isa. How are you doing?
Hi, Yvette. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Listen,
Long
and
time.
listen, at D11, we just jump in and we all help out, right? 'Cause this is what we
It's
do
good
at
to-
District 11. We're
Good to see your
family.
face. Good to see your face.
Good to see yours. So maybe what we can do just so that we're not losing time. If you want to speak maybe to some parent information or some other parent stuff that parents may want to know.
So I guess Mr. Jackson's on here as well, our
Oh, so
principal.
yeah, so it's someone.
I'm no longer the parent coordinator.
No, I know that. No, I know that.
Secretary
But
now,
I know
but
you.
I will, I ride 127 forever. But
That's why I said it.
if anyone has any questions, but as far as 127, we're an amazing community.
We were all muted now.
Okay, it just seems like everybody's muting themselves. So let me just jump in here. You guys are missing a really, really dope video, by the way. 127 is a place that's just near and dear to my heart. If you don't know right now, I'm the principal of Middle School 127. I just was named principal in February. But in being named principal in February, I've been there, I'm about to date myself, but I've been there 22 years. And I've seen the place grow. I've been a part of that growth. It has a very diverse population, like Ms. Seabrook said, a very diverse staff, a dynamic staff that I'm just extremely proud of. that work really, really hard for your children. The community is great. I really love the children that are there. I go by every morning to tell them good morning and see how they're doing. And I know that there's some questions for parents like that involve bullying and such. Listen, be honest with you. There are bullying exists, right? But it's a matter of how you deal with bullying and also acknowledging the fact, what are some of the root causes of bullying? How do you get students to interact with each other in a positive way and build relationships? And now it's harder to do so now, and you have to be even more mindful of doing those things, being that a lot of children have spent a lot of time at home. So what we do is we try our best to work on our restorative processes. We work on trying to restore students when they have incidences. We have programs such as PBIS, positive interventions and supports. We also have SEL. We dedicated social emotional learning. We have a period designated for just teachers and students to be able to just talk about how they're feeling and work on managing their emotions and really having that check-in system for students. So when we talk about IEP, students with IEPs, so we don't have a 12-to-1 or 12-to-1 self-contained classes. Every student with an IEP goes to an ICT classes. That's what we have. We have ICT classes. If a student with an IEP requires additional services or more services, we have pull out for ELA and math classes if they require that in small class sizes. But just for that period, but for the most part, all students are in whole classes together, because we find that we want all the students to feel like they are part of the class. We have high expectations for students with IEPs. My expectation and what we open up for students is that they have the ability to take the regions if they're willing to work hard to do so. Everyone is included and everything is inclusive in our school building. And the only way that you can do that is through high expectations. And one of the things that we have for IEP students is that we have high expectations for them also, and that they could not only forget about can and what they will do what any other student could do in our school building, just with the additional supports and helps and that we can provide to be able to make sure that they're getting all the things that they need. Extracurricular activities, man, we have a lot of them. Right, we have everything that we could possibly try to have, and I'm trying to look to add more. We have like the obvious, like the basketball and soccer. Mr. Sanchez isn't on here, but the soccer coach, we have a championship soccer program. When we had the tournaments, we win all the time. We got Junior Broadway. We have Club Hope. We have Black Affinity Movement. We have South Asian group. I have Marvel Club. Me personally, I just use that as a reason to try to get out of the classroom, get out of the office to be able to watch Marvel movies. We're starting that up soon. We have all types of things. We have regions. We have regions after school. We have specialized high school after school, test prep. We have RTI courses in which we help students who need additional help and services. We have Saturday school. What else don't we have? Am I missing anything? Because we have everything else. Student council. Shout out to Melzo too.
Yes, Mr. Jackson, let me share the video now.
Oh, okay.
We had a little technical difficulty at first.
And I promise you, this video is just as dope as I said it was.
All right, this will give you a good indication of who we are. So thank you, Mr. Jackson.
And then when we turn off the video, I'm going to continue talking about my school, because you know what? My school is dope. I really love where I work. I love being there, and your children will love being there. And again, it's also about including the parents. And so, like, go ahead, play the video, because I'm just going to keep talking and just take over.
That is one thing, though. You are correct, Mr. Jackson. We do get a lot of families where we have siblings. We get quite a few families where we have taught siblings. I have a few, I'm embarrassed to say, we have a few students and we've actually taught their parents. So they've sent their children to us now. So take a look as we give you a little info about 127.
Hello, my name is Brian Jackson, and I am the proud principal of Castle Hill Middle School 127. Our school is located in the Parkchester and Castle Hill section of the Bronx. We have a very diverse and dynamic population with numerous cultures and languages and people from all over the world. We are excited that you are considering our school and our home, and I look forward to discussing with you all the programs we offer in the future. We hope to create a dynamic, safe, and inclusive space for your children and the future of your children.
Hi, I'm Lisa Seabrooks, the 6th grade assistant principal here at Middle School 127. One of the things I love so much about our school is that we have such a diverse population, and that's for students and staff. We have a variety of cultures and ideas floating around this building, and that's what makes us unique. One of our other main features is our after-school program. We have a little something for everyone. Just ask some of our students.
My name is Amadou. I go to MS 127. I'm an 8th grader, and I've been in an after-school program since a 6th grader. I play basketball. We have great coaches here. They push me on the court and off the court academically.
What I really like about this school is that the teachers take their time to explain the work, to give you strategies, and for example, for ELA, they teach you how to do race. Take their time to teach you, and when you don't understand something, they go to you and say, oh, this works better, this is a better strategy. One thing I'm involved in the school is after school cheerleading. I really like it. We're learning new cheers. It's really fun. And they also, when they don't understand it, they also help you how to do things and work well. It makes me feel like I'm a part of my family, like they're always going to be there for me, like I can talk to them, and like it just makes me feel like home.
You should choose the school because teachers in these classrooms work so hard to just paint a path for us where we can kind of just like, we can learn at our own pace and we can kind of open up more to the learning, and we can kind of appreciate the learning, appreciate the students, appreciate what's going on in the school entirely.
We believe in student voice and the importance of leadership and learned leadership. Our students are given the opportunity to not only lead, but also to teach the adults in the school building. Fairness is at the center and the core of everything that we do and everything that we believe in.
So thank you, everyone. That was better. That gives you a little view, a bird's eye view into who we are as a school. I know that we're on for about another 15 minutes. I do want to make sure that you get our contact information here at 127. So I'm going to ask Ms. Mezzo to please put in the chat my email address, Mr. Jackson's email address, and the phone number here at 127. just in case you have any questions. Our parent coordinator is Ms. Cabral, and she is always open and available to speak with you if you have any questions. We're also going to put into the chat our social media pages. We like to keep up and reach out to our parents and our families and keep up with, have you guys keep up with us through social media. I see that someone asked the total population of the school. At the moment, it's about 806 students. We have, as you know, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and we try to keep classes to a minimum 28 to 30 students is roughly what we have in every class. I know that that is quite a concern for parents. We have approximately 10 homerooms on each grade. And with that, we have 2 gifted and talented classes at the moment, as long as that program is still running. We have 2 gifted and talented classes on each grade. We also have a class for our Bangla speaking students, our Spanish speaking students, our ENL students who are either transitioning or commanding the English language. So again, trying to be all inclusive and incorporate really the community. We're not a one size fits all school. Are we doing school with, yes, we are a shared building with Linden Tree. 6th grade occupies the 1st floor, 7th and 8th grade occupies the 3rd floor. We used to occupy the entire building, but Linden Tree is now an elementary school on the 2nd floor of this building. We are a shared campus, yes. And what happens is most students will articulate, unless they choose to go somewhere else, they will articulate down to MS 127 from Linden Tree. Okay, with that, I will turn it over to, oh, I'm sorry, before I turn it over back to you, Mr. Jackson, don't forget, Mr. Jackson and I have worked together closely for about 20 years. So we have a great relationship and rapport with one another. We are a uniform school. You'll see that Mr. Jackson is wearing one of our school hoodies. We really don't have a problem with students and uniforms because they truly appreciate what we like to call MS 127 swag. So they like to wear the, I believe Mr. Hafiz may have on a school hoodie as well today. Yes, and one of our New York Edge after school hoodies. So because the children like the sweatshirts and the long sleeve shirts so much, we really don't have a problem with them wearing it. We also have sweatpants that they're quite fond of. So we are a uniform school, yes. And with that, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Ms. Seabrooks. And thank you all the teachers who are on here, all the staff members who are on here. Like I said earlier, we have a really great support staff, truly hardworking, just really dedicated to our children, to our community. I couldn't ask for any better staff. As well as anything, I know I've done enough talking. I told you a lot about what we have to offer. So I would like to open it up for any questions that anybody in here might have.
I'm sorry. So I did see that most of the questions in the chat have been answered. Does anyone else have any questions that may not have been answered in the chat? So one of the questions was about busing. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ms. Crespo, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to say something?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
was going to let you answer.
Yes, no worries. Busing is not offered in the traditional sense that you're thinking. You're thinking, I live on the other side of the Bronx and I would like my student bused over to 127. We don't offer busing in that fashion. If your child happens to have an IEP and transportation is listed in their IEP, then busing would be provided if that is something that is listed. It's not provided in the traditional sense of I live a little far away and I'd like to come to the school.
All right.
And
Anyone else?
in that case, we're by the 6th train. We're at the Castle Hill Middle School's Castle Hill Avenue stop on the 6th train, and the 22 bus stops about a block away from our school building.
And the 40 and the 42 also.
Oh,
That's on East Tremont. Yes, it's down the block.
I-
Anyone else? Otherwise, then we'll call it, well, not an evening, but we'll call it a good night for 127. Anyone else? I don't see any hands raised. Thank you so much to the staff.
oh, you want
and
to
the
know about the gifted and talented program? I'm sorry.
Okay,
Listen,
go ahead.
Miss Seabrook has been telling me to wrap this up since we started, but
Yes, I kind of have to keep him in line, guys. You know, our principals can be, as most principals, long-winded, but the gifted, the honors program on the 6th grade level is.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Let me finish answering the parents' question about the gifted and talented program.
Okay.
That is a district program that you apply for. So, and I want to be very clear. We don't select the students for that program. The students for that program are selected through the district. So when you apply through middle school choice, you indicate that that is a program you would like to attend, and then the district makes their selection. We do have 2 gifted and talented classes on each grade. If you come in as a 6th grader, within that program, you still move to 7th grade in that program as well as to 8th grade.
Thank you, Ms. Seabrook.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute the parent. So, go ahead, ma'am.
Mom, you had a question for us?
She seems to still be muted.
I unmuted her, but I think she needs to unmute herself. Okay, you're unmuted.
Okay, so I wanted to find out the electronic gadgets kind of policy you have. Are the students using the phones and the computer even in the class, or is there a real person teaching in the classes?
Great question, Mom. All of our teaching is done in person. However, we are now in the 21st century, so teachers are using and incorporating the digital platform into their classroom. They don't need their phones. We provide every student with a computer, with a laptop. So they don't need to bring their phones to school. If they do, we're implementing a program called Yonder, and it is a pouch where they put their phone in the pouch seals up. You know how you have to take a sensor tag off of clothing in a department store? They have to open the pouch. It has a sensor, something similar to that. It's their individual pouch, and their phone will be put away because they really don't need their phone throughout the day. But we do provide them with a laptop to go along with in-person teaching. It's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, Ms. Fuller.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Seabrook. Thank you so much. So I want to, no, not a problem. I want to introduce our next school, which is it's Pelham Academy of Academics. That is our next school. Is Ms. Cartagena with us?
I also just wanted to say hi to all of our parents and guests. I've been quietly watching from afar and admitting our guests, and just so excited to hear all the wonderful things going on in our middle schools. You know, we get to visit from time to time, but hearing and watching the videos really fills me with excitement just to know these are our future leaders in our district. So thank you to all of our educators taking out time to present to our parents, and thank you to our parents for coming and listening and learning more about what we have to offer in District 11. My name is Jasenia Preventer, and one of the members at the district office. So thank you for joining us. So we are looking forward to our next 2 schools to present and share what they have to offer to our parents. Principal Cartagena, are you with us? So we're gonna give her a minute or two to get herself set up, Yvette. So
Sure.
I'm gonna put the schools and for her school's information in the link here.
Sure.
And we still have a few minutes. I know that we're just a tad early. She's scheduled at 6.
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
So Yvette and Yesenia, I'm wondering if the parents have any questions either via the chat or via the hand raising feature about the middle school application process in general that we might be able to field while we wait for our next school.
Absolutely.
We'll do our best. So I'll keep my eye on the chat. Pardon me. You could use the hand raising feature. I think people have the opportunity to take themselves off mute at their own will. I know that, I think someone in the chat.
So I just saw someone just said yes. So what I can start with, one of the things that you definitely want to do is there's a deadline, and that deadline is March 1st. You want to make sure that you go onto My School Accounts and set up an account so that this way you can apply for school. Some parents may already have it because they applied when their children were kindergarten, but sometimes you might have forgotten the password. The parent coordinator or the guidance counselor can actually help you to reset that password. You open up an account and then you're able to actually look at the different schools that are available in District 11. We're hosting a District 11 fair, so we will have as many of our recordings in our website. Just so that you all know that, because we already had one about 2 weeks ago, which we had 4 schools that evening. We'll be back next week with the next 4 again. We're in of middle schools. We have 14 middle schools in District 11, which they're all wonderful. So you can't go wrong with any one of our schools. But we're not a one-size-fits-all district, so you have to look at what fits best for your children. And one of the things as a parent that I would always suggest is visit the neighborhoods, visit the distance, see how far the schools are from where you live. So this way, because understand that transportation, it's a little different for middle school. You don't cross the street, right? And so a lot of times parents are excited about the building, but when they actually the child has to actually, or the young lady or young man has to actually take a train or bus, we have a lot of anxiety. And so please make sure that when you're picking choices 1 through 12, 1 through 10, whatever it is, don't put just one school. Please do not do that, because then what happens is they will put them to your zone school. So please, it's very, very important that you look at the schools, that you visit the schools, that you ask kids in the neighborhood, you ask other parents in the neighborhoods. That's what I would do as a parent, and then you make your choices.
Thanks, Yvette. There's a couple of questions in the chat already. One was, how many schools can you apply for? And I think that the application gives you the opportunity to rank 12 schools. Correct. At least that's what it was last year. So definitely exhaust all of your options there. Miss Williams asked, where are you located? I'm not sure if that was particular to a school, but if you don't know about District 11, we're in the northeast corner of the Bronx. We start around Castle Hill and Parkchester, move up across the Pelham Parkway through Morris Park, into Co-op City, up Boston Road, right until we border, I guess that's Pelham, and right in Mount Vernon, up in the north part of the Bronx.
We also go to City Island, and we actually also go to Woodlawn. That's how large we are.
That's right. Geographically, we're a very large district with 45 schools, 15 of which are middle schools. And thank you to Yesenia, who put the District 11 website in the chat. There's so much excellent information located on the district website. But to Mr. Cooper's question, about a day or so after we hold our town halls, we're able to consolidate that file and post the recording up on the district website. So Yvette will make sure that in the next few days, our first session last week and tonight's session are both posted up there, as well as an advertisement to come back to next week's session to wrap this all up.
So one of the questions was, how do we do in my student account? I may wind up doing a workshop one evening, maybe on I mean, actually on a Friday, because all our evenings are booked. But maybe we can actually do a recording and then put it on our website and how to apply. But But your parent coordinator or your guidance counselor should be able to help you actually do the account. So it shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you. And then
Yvette, I'm sorry, along those lines, the parents were mailed a letter, the 5th grade parents, with how to access the account as well as a PIN number to set up the application process. So they did receive it in the mail. If they did not get it in the mail, we do have the PIN numbers in the school, but every parent did receive it via mail.
And if that's why I said, if you didn't receive it, please reach out to the school that your child attends currently, the 5th grade, not the one where they want to go, but the 5th grade school.
And then Yvette, there was a hand up, and I think it's actually been up for quite a while, so I don't know if it's an accident or the question is still relevant. The name is EZUMAH. Ma'am, you're more than welcome to come off mute and go ahead and ask. We're happy to help you. I'm going to click the ask to unmute. So do you have something on your screen that says unmute?
No, it was before. She asked before.
Okay,
yes,
got
yes,
it. Excellent.
So Miss Cartagena is actually on
Wonderful.
with us. And so we're a great team together here. I love this.
Good evening. I'm so sorry about being.
No, you're not late. We're actually on time. We're trying to do this different.
Look at you guys. I'm always impressed with the work you guys do. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. You guys are too. But go ahead. The floor is yours, Ms.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining. And I know you guys have had a long evening, so I'm going to go as quickly as possible. Am I able to share my screen? Awesome. All right. So let me share my screen so that you guys could take a look a little bit and get to know Pelham Academy. So I'm the principal of Pelham Academy. I'm Joanna Cartagena, and my parent coordinator is actually on the call, and her name is Christina Martini. And basically, I just want to run through a couple of things, and then I'll be able to answer any questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. So where is Pelham Academy? We're basically at 2441 Wallace Avenue. We share a building with Bronx Green, which is on the 2nd floor, and Bronx Park, which is on the 3rd floor. This is the entrance of the school building. And on the right behind this car is a little blue door, and that's the entrance specifically for our school. So every school has a separate entrance and exit. We actually start at different times from the other school. We also may share a school building, but the common spaces we don't necessarily share at the same time. So we have our different lunch periods, we have different PE periods, different times that we're using the auditorium, but the principals and I definitely do a great job collaborating with one another. So why do we do what we do, and what are we all about? Basically, our mission and our vision is to create a family. So at Pelham Academy, we are a family. We collaborate with one another to make sure that all our children are equipped with everything that they need to be leaders of tomorrow. And I'm not only talking about being president of a company or even the United States, I'm saying like leading their homes and being great moms and dads, and leading their families and ensuring that they themselves are successful and can bestow that success onto everybody that comes after them. We're not in the business of failing children. Oftentimes kids struggle, and we try to figure out where our kids are struggling so that all our kids can be successful. And we strive to make sure that our kids are ready for success. Who are we? The school was actually founded in 2009 by two native New York City, born and raised product of New York students. And we were told, the previous principal and I constantly when we were younger, learn, get your education, and get away from here, get away from New York City, go away to college. And so we did. We went away and we came back, and we found ourselves being able to have the opportunity to open a middle school in the Bronx. And so that's what we've done. And since 2009, we've experienced so much success in being able to maintain a really great school culture with our students and our families, our community. And we're a team, not because we work together, we're a team because we respect each other, trust each other, and care for each other. And that includes everybody, not just faculty and students, but our families too. And so whenever parents come to us to talk to us about an issue that's happening, we deal with all issues with the utmost respect and trust, and know that we're here to support all our families. The school schedule, basically, Monday through Friday, 7:45 in the morning, the doors open for breakfast. We do have a faculty member that joins our students in the cafeteria every morning. Our arrival begins at 8 a.m. So at the beginning of the day at 8 o'clock in the morning, the guidance counselors and I are at the door greeting all our students as they're walking in. And now, as most schools are doing, we're checking health screeners. We're making sure that kids are healthy to come into school, that they're wearing masks, and that they're ready for the school day. Our dismissal is 2:20, again, Monday through Friday. And after school, we do have clubs. So on Monday and Tuesdays, our teachers stay after school for their professional development and parent engagement time. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, our teachers usually have clubs, and it can be anything from, right now we're about to start our new winter cycle. So we're offering things like cheerleading, basketball, anime, gaming, soccer. It's a broad list of different things that are led by our teachers. We do have a CBO, so we have an outside organization that does have after-school programs in our building, and the after-school program starts promptly at dismissal. All the kids go into the cafeteria where they're given supper, so they're given a warm meal, and then they have programs till about 5:45. And again, they have some academic and enrichment programs and recreational programs for the students. In addition to that, between 2:20 and 3:20, we have detention/study hall. And so students that haven't completed homework or are struggling with their homework are told that are asked to stay after school, and kids that have latenesses or are not in uniform, they're also kept after school. What can you expect from us at Pelham Academy? We're trying to support our students the best we can. We have very strong teachers. We are fortunate that even though the pandemic hit, we did not struggle having to hire teachers. Our teachers are the same teachers that we've had before the pandemic. And so we're continuously trying to improvise to make sure that we're able to meet our students where they are. I believe that I have one of the strongest guidance teams in the Bronx. Ms. Vargas and Mr. Pardo are very dedicated guidance team members that have been with us with many, many years. Mr. Pardo actually opened the school with us back in 2009, and then moved out of the state and returned back to work with us. And so our kids are fully supported throughout the day. We also offer advisory programs that are, again, run by our teachers, and after school programs to really just make sure that our kids are being supported socially and emotionally throughout the day so that they're ready to learn. We try to maintain constant communication. Every Wednesday, parents get what's called a Wednesday envelope. So it's an envelope where anything that they need to know about school is in that envelope. There's monthly newsletters that the teachers put together to give parents information about what's happening in school. And that's in addition to the digital platform. We have Google Classroom, and we have Pupil Path, where parents can go in and actually check how their kids are doing in school. And we also hold each other accountable. So our kids have student-led conferences. So for parent-teacher conference, students are the ones who lead those conversations, and they're the ones that basically tell their parents how they're doing in school, what their goals are, what they need to work on. And these are conferences that the kids have been prepared for. So teachers sit down during advisory and during their content sessions to be able to have students understand where they are in school so that they could really be able to clearly communicate that to their parents and their families. Our kids all have laptops. We've been lucky that we actually have laptops that kids have at home and laptops that they have in school. And we're also, just like many schools across the New York City DOE, are able to get internet-enabled iPads for kids that don't have internet at home. And like I said before, we have the Google platform that we use. All our kids have email addresses. We have all the parents' email addresses in a database so that we could email and send flash emails to all families. We have a lot of parties and celebrations for students. We're already preparing for our honor roll breakfast. So at the end of every marking period, we invite kids for honor roll. And we're actually starting not only perfect attendance, but we're also going to have most improved honor roll luncheon. So we're going to invite our students that have improved tremendously since the first marking period to have lunch with us. We have Spirit Week where kids can dress up in different themes. Our student council is up and running and already starting to make some really great changes at school. We definitely make sure that kids are school trips. We already had a apple picking trip earlier in the year. We're preparing for a snow tubing trip. And so we definitely make sure that kids are out of the building as much as possible. And what do our class looks like? So unfortunately, our classes are big. So for the most part, our classes are anywhere between 30 to 32 students. We have about 100 seats a year and hundreds of applicants. And so we definitely do max out in each of our classes. We have 3 gen ed classes in each grade, one of which is ICT in each grade. So a teacher that's special ed certified and general ed certified, basically leading a class of students that are a mix of students that have IEPs and students that are general ed students. We have one 12 to 1 class that's a bridge program for 7th and 8th grade, and one 12 to 1 6th grade class. What do we expect from our students? We expect them to come to school every single day on time and in uniform. And we have 4 pillars that we live by at Pelham Academy. So if you talk to any of my students at our school, they will tell you that we at Pelham Academy live by perseverance, achievements, citizenship, and engagement. This is the uniform for our school. We have about 99.9% of our kids in uniform every single day. There's a different uniform for gym. So the gray t-shirt and gray sweatpants are the gym uniforms, and the blue, navy blue tops are the tops for 6th and 7th grade. The burgundy ones are for 8th grade students. What do we expect from our parents? Partners. We expect partners in being able to raise our children together, to work with the teachers, to email teachers, call teachers whenever you feel like you're not being supported and you need additional help, and make sure that your child is in school every single day on time and in uniform. We also have monthly PA meetings, much like many of the schools that have presented. We also have quarterly student-led conferences. And like I said before, we do have the newsletters that come home on a monthly basis, along with our teachers, making sure that they're making those weekly parent engagement calls, people path access to monitor your child's progress. And you're able to also send back messages in that Wednesday envelope. So as much as you're getting information from the school on Wednesdays, you can also write us notes and put in the Wednesday envelope, and it gets checked when you guys are returning it, so that we can communicate with you if there are any issues happening at school. So thank you for joining me tonight. I hope I didn't talk too quickly and you were able to capture as much as possible. Again, my parent coordinator is Christina Martini. This is her email. My email is the same. It's jcartagena@pelhamacademy.com, and you're welcome to email me. I'm definitely always open to communicating with families as much as possible. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. What I always suggest to the parents is to take a picture so that at least you'll have it. Are there any questions in the chat that we may have missed? I know I saw something about where are you located. And I know you had it a part of your PowerPoint. Do you want to give that address?
Yeah. So I'm located at 2441 Wallace Avenue. So this is the address here.
Okay, it says, what is Rich Programs?
So enrichment programs are, for example, sometimes we have robotics going on. We have a creative writing program happening. Our student council is starting to work on newsletters. So they're going to be doing some publishing and some editing. So it's basically what kids are learning, but at a more, I want to say rigorous, but also kind of more fun and engaging way for kids to really learn academics outside of the classroom.
Okay, they're also asking, are there any honors programs offered?
Yeah, so this year we are actually not pushing our kids to do the regions, but usually we have kids doing the living environment regions, the algebra regions, and the American history regions as 8th graders. But our 8th grade filled out a survey basically saying that they are very anxious this year, and it's just not something that we wanted to put on their shoulders after the 2 very traumatic years that our kids have been through.
Okay, and they asked about competitive sports teams, and if there's any orchestra or music offered.
Oh, yeah, I should have concluded that. I'm going to have to go back and update this. So I do have an art program and a music program. So my kids in the 6th grade, each there's 2 cohorts. And so half of the kids will get art. So it's visual art. So painting, drawing, sketching, and the other half will do strings. So we have a strings instrument orchestra. So violin, viola, bass, and cello. And so half of the year they'll do art, the other half music, and then they'll swap. At the end of the 6th grade, they'll decide, I want to do music for the rest of the time here, or I want to do art. And then they'll do that in 7th and 8th grade. And then my art teacher and music teacher do dedicate a lot of time to getting kids prepared for the entrance exams for the arts program. So we have some kids applying to LaGuardia and Celia Cruz, basically being ready for the arts programs.
Okay. They're asking also, what type of gaming do you have?
So the kids right now are doing just video gaming. So they're learning to do some coding, and then they're also like playing video games because that's what they enjoy to do. So they're starting to do some coding about maybe 20 minutes of the time. Then they do 10 minutes of just catching up with one another, because what we realized from the pandemic is kids don't have a lot of time to socialize. And when they're just playing video games, that's when they really start talking to each other. So there'll be like 10 minutes specifically for them to just engage with one another. How you doing? What's going on? Highs and lows. And then they'll jump into actual playing video games and watching each other play video games and competing with one another.
Okay. All righty. I think that was, oh no, there's one more. Are there options offered for parents to keep track of their child's progress?
Yeah, so that's Pupil Path. So it's an online digital platform that the teachers put the grades for the students on there. So you'll be able to see what the classroom participation grade is, homework, quizzes, exams, tasks, anything that the kids are being graded on gets uploaded onto Pupil Path, and you have your own username and password to go in and check on your students' progress.
Wonderful. And okay, so those are all the questions that were in the chat. Does anyone want to take their hand off and or unmute themselves rather and ask a question? I can't see. I'm sorry.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
That can help.
Any questions? I'm looking at the participants to see if there's any hands up. Anyone? Okay, so
I don't see anyone, Yvette.
I know, and I don't know if we have our next presenters here. So I just want to say thank you, Ms. Cartagena.
Sorry, do you have ICT classes?
Yes, we have one ICT class in every grade.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Okay. So yeah. It says, will gaming programs have gaming consoles or PICs already there?
PCs already there.
Oh, PCs. Oh, PCs.
Yeah, so every child has a computer. So every single child has their own designated laptop. So they can use that. But for the actual where they're playing video games, we have a console that's attached to the smart board. And so all the kids can see it and play on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So with that, I just want to make sure that we answered all questions and that we gave every parent or student an opportunity to speak with Principal Cartagena. Okay, then. Thank you so much, Ms. Cartagena, for coming on. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you couldn't go wrong with any of our District 11 schools. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
All right, take care. So it looks like we have Principal McGee here. If we're all in agreement, oh, I see one more question there.
Is it optional to use uniforms? She said that was 99%. Oh, you're still on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Cartagena.
Yeah. No, it's not optional. We actually enforce the uniform policy. And so if parents are having a difficult time buying uniforms, we figure out a way to help all families afford the uniform, but it really keeps kids focused on their academics, and it's not optional.
Agreed. Agreed. Thank you. All right.
It looks like we're gonna move forward. So if Principal McGee is ready to go a few minutes early, we have Pelham Gardens. I took the liberty of putting their website in the link so we can familiarize ourselves with his school and programs. Principal McGee, are you ready? Is your team available to go ahead and start the presentation?
I think my team is logging in as we speak, but I can definitely go ahead and get started right now. Definitely excited for all the parents who are here, and I do not want to keep them waiting.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm going to introduce Principal McGee, and this is Pelham Gardens. Go right ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So good evening, everyone. My name is Principal Ian McGee, and I am the head of Pelham Gardens Middle School, and we are very excited to present our school to you tonight. So what I'm actually going to do first off is I'm going to show you guys a video. Now, we actually shot this video last year, so you may hear 2021 at some point, but we shot a new video for this year, but I think this one really captures what our school's all about. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that. You can learn all about the different programs we have going on and really get a sense of what our school is all about. And then after the video, which hopefully should answer most of your questions, we'll answer any other questions that you may have. So I am gonna go ahead and start playing this video now. I apologize, there may be some points where it pauses. There may be a little lag, but usually you just have to wait a second and then it will just go right back up again. All right, so let me get my other video up here. Okay. All right. Sorry, 1 second. Just give me issue sharing. All right. It's giving me an issue with sharing my screen.
You do have co-hosts. You do have co-host rights.
Yep, you do have co-host right.
No, I'm sorry. It's not even you guys. I'm using a brand new laptop and there is,
Did you want to email it to me?
I will go ahead and do that right now.
Okay. Okay, in the interim.
In the meantime, parents, yeah, absolutely take a moment to go to that website, the link that I posted into the chat, and you can take a look at the school. And as you're looking through that website and taking a look at the various programs that the school has to offer, you can start posting questions for Principal McGee and his team. So that would give us an opportunity to get a head start.
Okay, I think, Jesse, I think I have it.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if I share it in the bottom. Let me go to Zoom. Oh no, I have to download it first. I'm sorry. Duh.
It should allow you to play it.
Okay, so let me try then.
Yeah, see if you can play it. And in the meantime, I put in the our recruitment one pager so parents can take a look and see that one page. I just dropped it in the chat so parents can have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the school as the videos get queued up.
So let me go on to the Zoom and wait. I'm trying to share it now. Hold on. Share and here.
You know what? It looks like I could be ready to do it now.
Oh, okay. Because I got it already. Okay. Perfect.
Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine,
Welcome to Pelham Gardens Middle School. We are so excited to have you here with us today. My name is Ian McGee, and I am the principal of PGMS. It is my hope that by the end of this presentation, you will understand why Pelham Gardens is truly an amazing school community and why it would also be a great choice for your child. I want to take this time to share my instructional vision for PGMS, but first I want to give you a little background about myself. I was an ELA teacher in the Bronx for 12 years before coming to PGMS as an assistant principal in 2016. And then last fall, I became the principal. My goal is to create a welcoming school community in which all students feel cared for and supported while being challenged academically so they can all reach their full potential. Our teachers will be engaging students with a curriculum that celebrates their diverse backgrounds and teaches them to be proud of their culture and their history. Students who require additional support will receive it from teachers in small groups. They'll be provided with additional resources during the lesson to assist them, and there'll be opportunities for tutoring after school as well as on Saturdays. It's also very important to us that our curriculum connects to current social justice issues. We feel it's really important to empower our students to be advocates for themselves and their community. We try to foster a love of reading in all of our students. They become critical readers who develop into critical thinkers. We also incorporate technology into all of our lessons whenever we can, so our students are prepared for 21st century learning and careers. Our students have access to a wide variety of electives, including art, music technology, social justice, and spoken word. Starting next year, our students will be able to take up to 4 Regents level courses: Algebra 1, English, U.S. History and Government, and Living Environment. So they are able to enter high school with multiple credits. I am very confident that if we all work together, we can graduate lifelong learners who are prepared to shape their own destinies. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to my amazing assistant principals, Michael Morgan and Crystal Adler.
Hi, I'm Crystal Adler. I'm one of the assistant principals of Pelham Gardens Middle School. Pelham Gardens was started 9 years ago with the purpose of creating strong advocates who are critical thinkers. We really want to prepare our advocates for higher education and a changing world. We are located in District 11 on Gunther Avenue at the corner of Allerton and Gunther. We serve approximately 450 students, about 150 students per grade, with 6 classes per grade. In those classes, we include our Gen Ed classes, SETs, E&L, and a 12-to-1 for each grade. There are also approximately 55 PGMS teachers and staff members who will be working with your child on a daily basis. On a typical year, which we are hoping to get back into by September 2021, our school day starts at 8:25 a.m. and ends at 2:45 p.m. Classes are 49 minutes long, and there are 7 instructional periods each day. All of our students are also in an advisory class in the morning and at the end, and this builds a bit more sense of community where they get to really get to know and advocate for a certain set of peers. Pelham Gardens students are held to high expectations through tasks that require collaborative effort and intellectual stamina. We create a safe, student-driven experience where students advocate for themselves, their peers, and the community. PGMS is also a uniform school, so students wear their grade's blue uniform polo shirt or sweatshirt, along with a pair of khaki pants. We really aim to nurture and foster learning for our whole student and really develop our students as a whole. So thank you so much and for giving us the opportunity to share our school with you. And I hope you hear a little bit more detail about why Pelham Gardens is the perfect fit for your child.
Greetings. I'm Michael Morgan, one of the assistant principals here at Pelham Gardens Middle School. I wanted to talk to you all about our college access program. I'm sure you all have heard about the DOE initiative, across the city where all 7th graders have exposure and access to college life. But here at PGMS, you should know that we do things a little bit differently. And all 3 of our grades actually get to experience what college is all about. Starting with our 6th graders, we make sure that every single student visits at least 3 colleges during their 6th grade year. Our 7th graders, much like all of the students across the city, go and visit local universities. And during the 8th grade year, we step it up a notch. Our 8th grade students get to visit larger universities, not just in New York City, but also outside of the city limits. For example, in the past, we visited Harvard University. Our kids have had overnight trips to Binghamton University. We spent time on the campus of Maryland University and many others throughout the years. One of the things that sets Pelham Gardens Middle School apart from other school communities is our long-standing commitment to culturally responsive teaching. For years, we've been making sure that our teachers are fully equipped to interact with our students, even going as far as to have learning book studies. Most recently, the book study around Red Hammett's book, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. Not only have we been working with our teachers, we've also designed courses just for our students, namely one course named Social Justice. This course was specifically designed to make sure that all of our students, who are mainly Black and Brown students, are equipped to navigate some of the harsh realities in our communities. Not only are our teachers trained in culturally responsive teaching, many of our staff members also have been trained in the latest social emotional learning. We've sent staff members to Yale University to get trained on something called the mood meter and ruler, which is a way for our teachers to not only work with our students academically, but to also focus on the social emotional aspect of our child as well, to make sure that we're teaching all aspects of all of our students.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ann Hennessy, and I am the coordinator of student activities at Pelham Gardens Middle School. Here at PGMS, we not only focus on academics during the school day and after school with Panther Prep, our instructional help program, but we provide every student with opportunities to discover and grow their talents and skills through extracurricular clubs, activities, and sports. Our extracurricular activities and clubs take place both during the school day at lunch, as well as after school and on the weekends. Over the last 9 years, PGMS has offered activities such as Curators Club, Yearbook Club, Coding Club, Book Club, and Debate Team. We are hopeful that we will be back in the school building full-time next year so we can begin our Robotics Club, which will feature new technology like 3D graphics and printing, as well as virtual technology with headsets. For those who love music and are interested in playing an instrument, we will still have our amazing PGMS band. We also offer PGMS students the opportunity to connect with mentors and role models through our Aim High mentoring program, as well as Delta Academy, a partnership with the esteemed sorority Delta Sigma Theta. For sports, PGMS has a strong tradition of a winning basketball team for both boys and girls, JV and varsity. Next year, we will also be having a soccer team, running club, and a cheerleading dance team for all those who are interested. In addition to extracurricular clubs and sports, it's very important for all PGMS students to be involved in our school culture, community, and celebrations. We have many school-wide traditions that happen every year, like our Giving Thanks Feast, Canned Food Drive, Friendship Day, Spirit Week, Color War, dances, field trips, and honor roll assemblies. We also host College Week, Career Day, and High School Day, where former PGMS students come back to school to share their experiences with current students. It's also important to know that here at PGMS, if you've got a great idea for a club or activity that you're interested in, students are also encouraged to advocate and create their own club. We hope you join us at PGMS.
Hello, future PGMS advocates and parents. I am Miss Kissy Spencer, 8th grade ELA model teacher at Pelham Gardens Middle School. I just wanted to provide you with some brief insight into what makes instruction at PGMS so unique from many other schools. The 8th grade ELA team has worked hard at crafting a curriculum that provides countless opportunities for student independence, analysis of text by diverse authors, and even allows them to engage in a variety of writing styles. Our team has used my experience as a former high school English teacher to expose our students to texts that are typically studied at the high school level. This is to ensure that they are fully prepared for the 9th grade. This also aligns with the knowledge needed for the English regions, which 8th graders will begin taking next year. We also encourage the empowerment of our student voices through the writing and performing of poetry in our spoken word class. This program has done so well that PGMS has won the Urban Words and Verbs Slam competition for 2 years in a row before COVID placed a halt on the event. We look forward to meeting you and to share all that PGMS has to offer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Azamina Kraja, and I'm a peer collaborative teacher at Pelham Gardens Middle School. Today, I want to talk to you about how we incorporate technology in instruction. For starters, all of our classrooms have laptop carts and Promethean boards in them. Google Classroom was one of the many programs we've used even prior to the pandemic that provided students with an opportunity to demonstrate their understanding of materials by completing digital projects such as slideshows, Google Sites, blog posts, videos, and so on. When creating these projects, teachers are very mindful of providing students with options. Therefore, students self-select the project they would like to complete. These projects help reinforce our 21st century learning initiative. Incorporating digital projects through Google Classroom has been very helpful during the remote learning transition for several reasons. For starters, we had the technology and we're familiar with the programs since our teachers already had an understanding of how to use them. Since going full remote, we have only expanded the programs we have at our disposal while ensuring our students and teachers are trained on how to use them. Some of these platforms include Pear Deck, Nearpod, Kami, and Kahoot. The use of technology in curriculum allows for differentiation of learning activities, allowing students to work at their own pace while also allowing teachers to give instant feedback. The teachers at PGMS have been working diligently since the pandemic to ensure that our students are engaging in rich, meaningful tasks and are doing well socially, emotionally as well. We do frequent check-ins with our students, sometimes even digitally, to make sure our students are okay. And on that note, I hope you are all doing well and will continue to do well this new year. Thank you for your time. Be safe.
Hi, potential parents of Pelham Gardens Middle School. I'm Mr. Bonte. I am a 7th grade math teacher at Pelham Gardens Middle School. I just quickly wanted to show you guys some of the things we have to offer here at Pelham Gardens Middle School in the math department, and just kind of show you some of the things we do that might separate us from some other schools. One of the things we really do and try to pride ourselves on is what we call GRASP tasks. This is really just a way to really connect real world mathematics with what students are working on the curriculum. Here's an example of one of those tasks, and it's a nice way to connect something we actually did in the school. So we actually took a Captain Marvel field trip, and we actually then used that experience to work on a math problem and kind of make it very real world to the students because it's something they actually did, right down to writing an email based on the math from the trip and things like that. That's one of the things we really like to do at Pelham Gardens Middle School. Here's an actual picture from my math classroom about students actually doing group work. You can kind of see the group work on the table there, and other students doing what we call a fishbowl and kind of looking at their work and really just kind of talking out the math and things like that. So where they can really just build from each other's own learning and their own understanding. Okay. Well, anyway, I hope to see a lot of you for the class of 2024, and I really look forward to seeing you all and meeting you.
Hi, my name is Ms. Carpatios. I'm the 7th grade social studies teacher here at Pelham Gardens Middle School, and I'm one of the lead teachers in the Pelham Gardens Curator Club. At Pelham Gardens Middle School, teachers in the social studies department have been working very hard to modify our curriculum to ensure that our students learn about those that are normally marginalized when teaching about history, namely women and important historical figures from diverse backgrounds. We teach history from a variety of perspectives in order to avoid that one-sided tale that used to be told. Pelham Gardens has been part of the New York City Department of Education's History by Design program for the past few years, where students research, create, and present an art exhibit on a topic of their choosing. Students with a multitude of strengths and interests join the club to learn about researching and curating an exhibit for a museum. And they present their exhibit to at least 20 other schools around the city at a large culminating event in the spring. On behalf of myself and the PGMS Social Studies Department, we wish you luck in your future endeavors, and we look forward to welcoming you to our school community.
Hello, everyone. My name is Henry Alas. I am a 6th grade social studies teacher at Pelham Gardens Middle School. And I want to thank you for coming to our open house. It's pretty exciting to have you here. We tend to do a lot of reading, a lot of analyzing, writing, and talking. And so, you know, the ELA department works really closely with the social studies department in creating these strategies that we can use in both subjects, right? We work really closely with the ELA department in order to build and create better readers and writers. So that's all I have for you. With that said, again, thank you for coming to our open house. Until next time, have a good day.
Hi, everyone. So I am an 8th grade parent, and from the moment that my son was accepted to Pelham Gardens, I felt at ease. From amazing staff to phenomenal teachers, and let's not even speak about the assistant principal and the principal himself. This is a family, and everyone belongs, and everyone does succeed. They have outstanding programs. They have an amazing curriculum. I will be sad to see my son depart from the school, but I am super honored that he was part of the family here because he has matured into an amazing young man. So your son or your daughter does belong at Pelham Gardens Middle School. Apply.
Thank you so much for joining us today and hearing a little bit about what makes our school special. We hope that next fall you can officially become part of the PGMS family. Until then, bye guys.
All right. So I see that your Mr. Morgan has been answering the questions in the chat. I just want to give an opportunity to anyone else if they have not written in the chat, but if they can actually unmute themselves and ask, that also could do that.
Definitely, yes.
Anyone?
Hopefully that means our video was so thorough that
that's what it definitely means, Mr. McGee. That's exactly
do
what
you
that
have
means.
separate entrances for the different schools?
Yes, ma'am. All schools have their own dedicated entrance and exit, and we also use different stairwells throughout the day.
Okay,
Also-
and the address, the bullying, do you nip that in the bud? You know, the bullying situation.
So we have a very robust guidance staff. We have 2 guidance counselors, a social worker, and a dean. So we have a very nice team of people who, anytime we ever hear anything like that, we address it immediately. Now, it is middle school, and we know how middle schoolers can get, and things do happen, but I can definitely say that anytime issues come up, we try to address it and make sure it's handled. So I would not say that bullying has become an issue in our school because of how quickly we address it.
And also just wanted to add on to what Mr. McGee was saying before. Not only do we have separate entrances from the other 2 schools, we all also start at completely different times. So we have different start times and end times. So we really don't see the other schools at all.
Oh, thank you very much.
No problem.
Hi, I wanted to know what after school activities or extracurricular activities you have.
Okay, so it's funny that you asked that because that list is constantly growing, even new things since you've seen in that video. So in addition to what's been in the video, we now have a social and emotional learning through art class that's taking place. I actually was just visiting with them earlier today. We have a Lego robotics club. that has started up, and it has a part where the students are also playing a Rocket League video game. They're in an esports tournament actually with this Rocket League, and that's something new that started. In the video, Ms. Hennessy mentioned how students can advocate for clubs. There were some girls that were asking about a cheerleading club, so they went around, did a petition, brought it to us. So we will be starting a cheerleading club coming up soon. We are officially now partnered with Broadway Junior. So we have students currently trying out for our production of Annie Junior that hopefully we'll be putting on this spring. So that's all in addition to what we mentioned before, which was everything from basketball to music to dance to cooking to a whole host of things. But like I said, whenever students have a new idea, we're always willing to go with it as long as we can find the staff that's willing to facilitate that.
They asked about a STEM program.
Yes, so we have a lot of STEM and a lot of new things coming on too. So we have a coding, we have Lego robotics. We are also starting a virtual reality coding class that hopefully we're going to get the training for the teachers. We already have all of the virtual reality devices, but we have a new one where the students are actually designing their own games in a virtual reality space. That's something new that's coming up as well for our STEM program. So yes, we definitely like to have as many STEM activities as we can.
And so the other question is, how large are the class sizes? Is there an after-school program, and do you have sports?
So our class sizes right now are much smaller than they are in regular years as a result of the pandemic that we're in. But class sizes now range anywhere from 15 to 21 students in many cases. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case next year, but right now they're very small, so students get a lot of individualized attention. But even when our class sizes are larger, we still ensure that all students have the opportunity to get to know a staff member very well, that they're all supported as much as we can. But another question you mentioned, do we have an after school program? So in addition to our PGMS run after school programs, we are also partnered with Aspira, which is our CBO, and they host a whole bunch of other activities, everything from homework help to calisthenics to martial arts to a soccer club they're starting. So yes, we do have that. And I believe there was something else. It was STEM, it was after school.
And then it was the sports club, if there's any sports club, and then the class sizes, which you did answer.
Oh, on the class size, yeah, and the sports club. So in sports overall, so yes, I said we have a junior varsity and varsity boys and a girls basketball team, and it's actually a campus team. Both teams are campus teams, so it encompasses students from our school as well as the other middle school that we share a building with. So it's a good way to really build camaraderie amongst the schools, because as Mr. Morgan said, we don't really interact otherwise. And we have a soccer program that's starting something new. We're actually starting a track club this spring as well. So that's something new. So any of you guys that come on next year, we've got a lot of new things coming down the pipe.
Okay, so they asked regarding an IEP class, ICT class, and busing.
We definitely do have ICT classes. At each grade level, we have 2 integrated co-teaching classes. We have a SETS class at each grade level, and we have a self-contained class at each grade level.
Busing?
We do have busing for our 6th grade students, as well as any student with an IEP that says they can get door-to-door busing. So they are eligible to get the yellow bus. And of course, we have Metro cards for our students that do not meet the eligibility requirements for the yellow busing.
And then how many floors are there?
There are 4 floors in the building, and we are on the 4th floor. We do have a location on the 1st floor for our art program, which Ms. Hennessy runs, right across from the cafeteria, but we are mainly housed on the 4th floor of the building.
Okay, those all the questions in the chat. Anything anyone wants to say, add anything, or put your hand up and ask another question, or is that it?
I did see somebody did ask, what is our school start and end time? So our school we start school at 8:25 and we end at 2:45. And then after school is from 2:45 to 5:30, our Aspira program.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Somebody also asked if a child is struggling with studies, classes, how is that handled? We have a number of things that we do. Obviously, we make use of the teachers. Students are able to stay up during lunch and work with teachers. We do have a special education recovery program twice during the week for our students with IEPs to receive additional assistance during the week. On Saturdays, we have something called Panther Prep, which all students are invited to. I forget the exact hours, Mr. McGee, if you can fill that in for us, but all students are invited to that. And that's just a way for us to make sure we are building our students up outside of their regular academic day.
2 questions. How long are the periods for each class? And then can you explain the Saturday tutoring? That's actually 3 questions. And then the last one is, if the student does not have school uniforms, what are you guys, how do you guys handle that? First day of school, let's say.
So first, the periods are 50 minutes long. And in terms of our Saturday Panther Prep program, so it goes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that time is designated for students who are struggling and need some additional support. But we also have enrichment programs for our students who are excelling. We offer Regents Prep, because this year, for the first time, we'll be offering 4 Regents exams: the English Regents, Algebra 1, Living Environment, and U.S. History and Government. So our accelerated students get that Regents Prep on a Saturday, while students who are struggling get the additional support they need as well. And Ms. Hennessy, do you want to address the uniform question?
Sure. So we are a 100% full uniform school every single day. Each grade has a different color blue polo shirt. 6th graders wear navy blue, 7th grade wears sapphire, 8th grade wears royal blue. For our pants, students wear khakis. They have to be black, navy blue, or tan. And if any point in time, if a student comes to school not in full uniform, or they say, Miss Hennessy, Mr. Morgan, Miss McGee, Miss Adler, I could use some help with the uniform. Or if a parent reaches out to us, we do provide students with whatever they need to be in full uniform. That is the expectation we set for the school every single day. So we do assist in any way necessary to make sure all of our students are in full uniform every single day. But we do have dress down days and jeans days too. So it's 100% uniform most of the time.
Thank you.
What's the population, please?
When you say what's the population, are you talking about the amount of students, or you're asking for demographics of students?
Yes.
The amount of students, how big, how large is your school?
How large is the school?
So right now we have about 334 students on our enrollment, which is down. Normally we are just right above 400, but right now we have 334 students, and we of course serve 3 grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Thank you. All right, so I'm looking to see if anything else. We talked about the IEP classes and ICT classes, the busing. Oh, is there a technology club?
Yeah, so there's the Lego Robotics with the Rocket League video games, as well as a coding club, and our soon to be starting virtual reality headset game design club.
Okay.
And Mr. McGee, let's not forget, we do have some 3D printers as well as additional coding devices that did come in. So we are going to get those up and running as well. We do have a teacher that has volunteered themselves, because they are an expert with technology and things of that nature, that wants to open up a club.
How long is the technology club?
How long does it run? So our teacher run clubs typically run from 2:45 to 4:30, and they're once or twice a week, depending on the club.
Okay. And the school location is?
2545 Gunther Avenue.
Okay. All right then. And with that, let me see, I think, yeah, that's it. That's all the questions. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, you can come off of mute. Or math, what do you mean by math classes? Like what is being offered?
Well, I don't know if they were referring to that. I said we're
yes, what's being offered. Yes, what math classes?
Okay, so in addition to the regular Common Core line curriculum, we have students who are going to be taking the Algebra 1 region, so they receive an additional Regents Prep class. In addition to that, the name of the math curriculum that we use is called Into Math, and we're really excited about that because it has a fully digital component to it.
So is it possible for anyone to put in their email addresses, so that this way, if parents have more questions or information, they could put that. I also want to state that we are going to put all the 14 middle schools that we have in District 11 that are not 6 through, K to 8. We will be posting those schools on our website. So you can come back. Next week, we'll be back with the remaining of our schools. But the following week, we will, within that week, we'll start posting up all the schools that are open in District 11.
And a lot of these questions, I think that some people are asking again, if you play the recording, you'll hear them being answered by many of our school building leaders. So you'll have an opportunity to replay this again in the recording once we post them back up. And again, those emails are available for you to use. Again, as a parent of 3 youngsters that attended District 11 schools K through 8, I encourage you to go and reach out to them and ask as many questions as you can. They're so willing to answer. We have such wonderful staff. So we thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate your time this evening. Thank you to our faculty and staff that joined us. A big shout out, of course, to Yvette, Nawara, and our leadership as well, Dr. Russo and our superintendent as well, who is with us this evening. That being said, we're going to conclude this evening session. So thank you again for joining us, and we're here to support you and your family. So thank you.
Come back next week, Wednesday. We'll be back with the remaining of our schools, please. Same time and same link. So please, please, please share it. Tell a friend. Bring a family member.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing you all again next Wednesday. Same back channel.
Yes, I was going to say that. I didn't want to age myself. Good night, everybody.
Be well. Stay safe, all. Take care.
Get home safe. If you're home, enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you're traveling, get home safe. Good night.
Buenas noches.